because Christ is top dog. He's firstborn. But yeah, my approach with that would be the same appeal that you conducted there, and that it is finished. Today you shall be in paradise. Even when he's utilizing First Peter 3, I think, which is the proclamation of Christ's victory to the spirits, and in Hebrews, there's nothing to show that he's in like this demonic struggle. And this is something that Joyce Meyer appeals to as well. There's audio recordings that I'm sure you've heard where it's like, oh, my Jesus was getting beaten up and, all of this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, that sounds like a different Jesus than if that's your Jesus, because this isn't what the Bible illustrates.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. So you had both. You had Kenneth Copeland, a really old tape you can find of Kenneth Copeland if you go on YouTube and search it. I think I have it on my YouTube channel, an old audio recording that I just put a picture to. Same with Joyce Meyer saying that Jesus was tormented in hell. Frederick Price taught the same exact thing. Frederick Price was another one, another Word of Faith, older Word of Faith dead. The late Frederick Price, not his son. Yep. But he taught the same thing. This idea that Jesus suffered in hell, beat the devil, whipped the devil in his own backyard, grabbed the keys, and he has the keys of death and hell. And now because of that, because he has restored what Adam lost, where Adam was a little god, we talked about that already, I think. Didn't we? Wait, if not, okay. So Adam, So they, of course, as you know, they believe that Adam was, not, he was, when he was created a little God, not like God the Father or Jesus or anything, but a little God, because he was created in the same image of God.
And God now produces man, and everything produces after its own kind. If horses get together, they produce what? And if dogs get together, they produce what? If cats get together, they produce what? But if the Godhead gets together and say, let us make man, then what are they producing? They're producing gods. Now, I got to hit this thing real hard in the very beginning because I ain't got time to go through all this. But I'm going to say to you right now, you are gods, little g. You are gods because you came from God, and you are gods. You're not just human. The only human part about you is this physical body that you live in.
Do you know what else that is settled then tonight? This hue and cry and controversy that has been spawned by the devil to try and bring dissension within the body of Christ, that we're gods. I am a little God.
Yes. Yes.
I have his name. I'm one with him. I'm in covenant relationship. Yeah. I am a little God. Critics,
you are anything that he is.
Yes.
Go ahead. You tap into who you really are. You know what the Bible calls you? It says you are little Elohim. You are a little God.
Jesus didn't say, pray for the sick. He said, heal the sick. Well, only God can heal the sick. That's why he said, be imitators of God. Listen, I can't heal the sick. Only God can heal the sick. That's right. You are sons of God. In fact, Jesus quoted the psalmist when he said, you are gods, and the word gods is little g. Ye is big G, and you are little g. You're little g, God.
Anyway, any thoughts? I know you were there. I know you probably had heard that yourself.
Yes, sir. So I was actually making me think of a memory where I was with a family member and we were eating chicken biscuits or something. That's the part that I remember. That was a good biscuit. Based on this whole theology. And again, it's kind of like this intertwining that we're made in God's image. Therefore, we're cloned and we're also gods. Obviously, you're going to know the appeal to Elohim and the usage of that word also being translated as judges or gods. Mm-hmm. When it's utilized in the Old Testament, it also says, well, then you shall die like men. So I'm like, well, what kind of God is that? And so it's just the whole notion is ludicrous that, we're created as these little gods that, we can't even manage our own hygiene half of the time. We can't speak a potato chip into existence.
Yeah, exactly.
We can't fix our own eyesight. and we are sinful as all get out. So, none of this has, again, empirical support, nor does it have biblical support. But going back to my chicken biscuit memory, this family member, I can remember this was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, where I then, with my family members, you're listening to this theology. I think Justin Peters talks a little bit about how someone can be in the word of faith and be saved and be regenerate, but it's a very slippery slope. You're in a bad place to maintain that. So I'm kind of contending with that with my family members. And then this, again, this chicken biscuit memory was one of the really prolific times where I was like, now this is a problem where I don't think you're a Christian. And my question was direct. I was like, do you think that you're a little God? And they said, yes. And it's like, I felt so unprepared to hear that positive response. And I was like, oh man, like this is so much worse than I thought. When you see it inside of your own family and all of these practices, but then again, when you put yourselves on any kind of equal terms, even if it's not a capitalized G. So I have personal experience with people that do believe that. But again, there's no biblical support. There's no empirical support. And so the self-idolatry is an absolute application of having a God before God, and that's yourself.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize this, but this kind of thing was taught in the early Pentecostal movement. A lot of people think that, because E.W. Kenyon was the grandfather of the movement itself, that he's the one that kind of came up with all this stuff, but that's not the case. You know who John G. Lake is, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to just put a graphic up on screen, and I'm going to read what John G. Lake said about, I don't know, this is probably at least in the 1920s, I think, but let me go ahead and put that up on the screen here.